Hi, and welcome to Qualitative Data Analysis. Tonight I'll be leading you through the PowerPoint on qualitative analysis and giving you some basic definitions and differentiating qualitative data analysis from quantitative data analysis. Qualitative data analysis, I think, is one of the most robust and important tools available to a researcher, and I think one of the reasons why is because it allows us to really gain some depth and some perspective that numbers alone don't allow us to describe the topic. So it's interesting that numbers can give us an outcome, but they can't necessarily tell us why. But qualitative research often can tell us why. So with that, I think we'll jump into it. The basic strategies that are available to qualitative researchers is this three different ways of approaching qualitative analysis that allows the analysis to flow. So naturalistic is when you would, for instance, go to a natural environment, let's say a schoolyard, and do an observation. Very typical. Emergent flexibility adapts to new information as it comes up and changes the investigation. So for instance, you might be doing interviews and then find out that some new topic arose through talking to people, and so you decide you're going to include that in as a factor. That works. And then purposeful sampling is unlike quantitative and qualitative. You may want to focus on one or two people and attempt to gain information from in-depth case studies as opposed to a very broad sample. And so then the dominant collection strategies, it really has a first person feel to it, because often the qualitative researcher is in the field collecting notes, doing interviews, creating what's called participant observer bias, and that means that the participants may be influenced by the presence of the investigator, and so that creates bias. It has to be accounted for in the qualitative format. The dominant data analysis strategies are unique case orientation. This allows for you to focus on the facts of one or two cases. Inductive analysis is patterns and themes that you choose to synthesize. Quantitative tends to be more deductive. Holistic perspective, that means include everything. Context sensitivity, it means that the data may be influenced by its location. And then voice perspective and reflexivity, it has to do with your own personal biases and what you believe in in terms of your perspectives on the situation and how that may create bias. Here's a rather detailed table that provides descriptions and definitions for the formal ones that we had just I had just given you a summary of. Difference between quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative tends to control, it tends to be very objective, tends to be reduced in bias, where qualitative seeks more of an understanding. It is using a subjective voice where the investigator is giving an opinion. So there's some significant differences in here. We have a couple that we're looking at, and it defines the dimensions and then compares quantitative versus qualitative. A lot of the things that we've already gone over here, but I wanted to provide them for you here as a summary. So that is quantitative versus qualitative, and I hope you found this presentation and definitions useful. Good night.